You guys did not see, there was the clip yesterday where Jack responds to me and Dom on Face Check, talking about C9, right? So if you did not see this yesterday, there was this thread, which I ended up responding to yesterday on stream. And Jack ended up making a response to it, right? Latest episode of Face Check, Ellis explain what went wrong with C9 and why they lost. One of the major points that we brought up is that there has been a brain drain, and Mithy is not a good coach. Max Waldo left. Revan coached Academy last split before leaving to TSM. Vigar not being possibly as active with the current team. Didn't do well taking over for Reign over and then they're talking about Mithy. 100 Thieves looked really bad when he was assistant coach. Those teams had no identity, and their only approach is to scale and hand stiff. They also touched on Eminence and Fudge has been slumping, etc. So in this thread, Jack responds and says that these guys have not seen how we run everything, so everything that they say is wildly speculative. Okay, emphasis on wildly here, or just keep this word in mind. We're confident in our coaching staff. This is all fine, what he's saying. Duffman, Rigby, our data team managers work smart and work hard. We had a bad day, NRG had a good day. Congrats to them. As for international, I recommend that fans, LPL and LCK have massive advantages on the West, and that they don't have the same resources. Okay. So then I ended up responding to this yesterday. There was a clip that ended up getting put out because obviously, like, he is responding to me and Dom and essentially saying that we're like lying or that we don't know what we're talking about. Now, this is like really crazy because we do this all the time as streamers. This is what content creators basically do. We hear things, we talk to players, we talk to coaches, we talk to staff members, we talk to people inside of teams all the time. This is why you'll often hear, like, if you watch Dom on, like, you know, and Dom and like the Nutsack and stuff, they'll talk about things sometimes that happens on stream. If you listen to Cagel, sometimes he'll talk about like rumors and things that have obviously happened based on his interactions with like people that he talks to at LEC and like friends that he has. This is just really common, right? And it's no surprise that obviously I still have friends on C9 and that I was actually there at C9. In fact, one of the former C9 coaches is here in the call today. So it's like really strange to say that everything that we say is wildly speculative. So this thread ended up happening, obviously, a couple of hours ago, and Jack responds yet again. And he says, Dom and LS don't participate in our team. They don't have firsthand knowledge of how we work. So yes, they are speculating on it. So this is what's really confusing to me. So what exactly is speculation? So if I'm talking to people who are working firsthand inside of the team and they're telling me what's going on, and I also see snippets of VODs with audio, I'm going to think that I have pretty firsthand knowledge of things that are going on, right? Like, sure, I don't have to physically be there, but I'm literally being told directly from people that are there. So are we just not gonna say that that's like that's valuable? And is the snippets that I get to see or whatever, is that just not real? Is it make believe? I don't know. And he's saying that it's a fact. Well, it's a fact that, yeah, we're not there day in and day out, and we don't see whatever's going on. The claims that Vigar doesn't participate is incorrect. He works extremely hard and is dedicated to improving our team. So I don't know where Jack is getting this. And someone actually calls Jack out in the thread to inventing something that I never said. And I don't know exactly where this is in the thread. Let me just try to find this. Yeah, here is what LS said about Vigar. I don't know who claimed what you're saying, etc. So let's just listen to what I said about Vigar.
With the current team. Well, I mean, I think some people do know, but yeah, I mean, it's not surprising to me that C9 is not going to be a team that improves.
Okay, so to repeat, I said, who even actually knows what Vigar's current activity is with the current team right now? And I said, well, some people actually do know, but that it's no surprise. So nowhere did I actually say that Vigar doesn't participate. I didn't say that. I said he works extremely hard and is dedicated to improving our team. Oh, I don't doubt that Vigar works extremely hard. I absolutely know that he does work extremely hard, and I know that he's one of the best workers in the entire scene. And I know that he would like to improve the team. I don't deny that. What I did say is nothing like what is being written in this sentence. I just said, like, who actually knows what he's actually doing? And then I said that, well, some people actually do know. But the do know thing is because Vigar does not have as much hands-on as some of the other coaches. I mean, you could argue that he does, but like, he's remote. He works with specific players more so than not. And obviously, Vygar does a lot of other things beyond C9, right? And this is just evident by Twitter and his interactions and stuff like that. I really like Vygar, right? He's never really been on, I think he's only been on a couple of coach streams and stuff like that, but he is someone that I will always talk to and reach out to for like various things throughout the last couple of years, right? It was why I recommended Vygar to C9. The greatest resources LPL and LCK have over the West are competitive scrims, solo queue environment, and larger competitive pool of players to draw on. This can't be denied. Great. I never denied that. What I actually said in my clip was that Jack never substantiated what he was referring to as resources. So then I explained that if we're just going to take the word resources at face value, then generally what I assume that we're referring to is quite literally resources in the sense of money and staff members and ability to like, import and whatever else, right? You had Champions Queue, which was a dedicated server. LCK doesn't have that. You have multiple LCK players saying that they would actually prefer to have that. It's not obviously North America. Well, it's not C9's fault, but it is North America's fault that Champions Queue does end up dying. But to say that there's not like resources that NA had advantages over NA is just completely ridiculous, because a lot of LCK teams were operating in suboptimal training and practice environments. And sure, you can say that their solo queue is actually a very big factor, but it's not the biggest factor. And I don't think that it makes them immune to actually dropping games. And I think there's also a lot of other games that we can point to where objectively there are players that practice in way more suboptimal, practice environments, and yet still are able to best the Koreans. And what I'm referring to here is obviously like modern day StarCraft 2 players and even Warcraft 3 players and stuff, right? I think Neeb and Serral's runs in StarCraft 2 are really, really, really impressive. And obviously you have other players like Clem and Raynor and whatnot that are able to topple the Korean players despite having worse practice environments. So I don't really accept this so much as an answer, but at least this time around, Jack actually substantiates what he's referring to when he uses the word resources. That's fine. So this is totally okay. And then he says he knows that it's tough for LS to come to terms with his history at C9. I wish him well, even if he hates us. So this is another really weird thing. And I almost want to think that it's like projection. So over the last 2 years, I've done nothing but actually positively praise things that have gone on with C9, support the players, support the staff members, and other types of stuff. In fact, there's even clips of this up on YouTube that people can search. In fact, I even cried when Max finally ended up winning the LCS title and, held it up, and there was that image and stuff. I even have a tweet that actually references that. There was a really big tweet saying that it was one of my happiest memories that now I'm going to be able to cherish for years to come. So it's just a really weird comment. The other thing that's really weird about this is that Jack knows that I came to terms with my history at C9 before I even joined C9, which is why he knows about Joe Marsh's involvement. And I mean, he's just lying if he says that he doesn't know that that's already the case, because why else would Joe Marsh have been, involved so early on? So that one's just really weird. The other really weird thing about this is that Jack has had multiple calls with Dom over the years and, told Dom lots of stuff about the inner workings of C9, but obviously doesn't want to include, I guess, Dom now in this comment, because that one's just a lot easier to directly engage with and it's much more tangible. The other thing about it is that obviously I was there at C9, and upon my release from C9, Jack actually said that they've had systems in place for years, and the way that they operate and do things has remained the same for years. Even after I ended up leaving, if you looked at a lot of the interviews that they did with Degon and the player press conferences and all this other type of stuff, they actually referenced the systems many times. In fact, C9 actually ended up turning the systems thing into a meme type thing where they would joke about it and whatnot, and they would continue to be referenced throughout the later parts of the year, suggesting that the systems and the way in which they operate doesn't actually change. If it didn't actually change, then actually, yes, I do have firsthand experience with exactly what's going on. In addition to that, some of the people that I cited inside of my clip that were just recently working at C9, just a couple of months ago. Why did Selfie end up leaving the team? Selfie was actually working on the LCS team. I'm going to think that Selfie has exactly knowledge of what is actually going on within the team. I'm going to say that the players that are still on the team, as well as some of the staff members that are still on the team, exactly have firsthand knowledge of what exactly is going on. I think that one of the people that is currently in this call right now exactly knows what's going on, as he was both a part of the LCS staff for an entire year, as well as the academy staff for half a year, before ending up going and becoming the TSM head coach. I think that there's a lot of stuff going on. I think it's very interesting that Max Waldo chooses to leave C9 at the absolute height of his career, and I think that should raise more eyebrows. I think that Selfie leaving is like another like really big thing, but it's just really weird. Like we're trying to play some like really weird war where we want to hide behind the word speculating without actually engaging with anything that can be said. So it's just really, really, really strange. One guy comments here that Ellis can be a clown at times, but nothing that he said was even bad. And that's actually true, which is very bizarre that Jack decides to respond, because the reality is that if you go to Jack's profile, he disappears for weeks to months at a time, except when things are just going amazing for C9. There were plenty of threads on the C9 subreddit in recent times, as well as on the main subreddit, that he was just choosing not to reply to, where his players and staff members were getting trashed. But the first time that a clip with my name in it comes up, Jack immediately ends up responding. I know it must be tough for me to come to, terms with my history at C9. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I think this makes a lot of sense. So I don't know when this like clip battle thingy is just going to end up ending. I don't know why we're going to pretend that people who literally have friendships that are deep rooted inside of the scene, and that streamers and players and everyone all talk to each other, and yet we're gonna play this really weird thing where apparently sources just aren't credible because I'm not physically there or something like that. It's just so weird. But then also to involve Dom, who was literally a part of C9 for several years, did content with the team, saw the inner workings, and just recently left C9 in January, or was it December of this year, in order to obtain the sponsorship that he did. It's just very, very, very strange. Please stop calling into question my character or thinking that I would just arbitrarily lie about the things that I'm talking about when I'm one of the biggest record keepers in this entire fucking scene, specifically for reasons like this. It's so fucking disgusting. All right, we can get back to the game. I'm so sorry, by the way, for you guys on